Hey everyone, welcome to What I Listened to This Week. It's Melanie. I'm here with Erik and Sergio again.
What's up?
And before we get into this week's music, we're going to start with the icebreaker. And so before we started today, I was giving a little bit of background. So there was an article that came out a couple of weeks ago. I think it was like the first week of May. It was published, and it talked about how we as humans tend to hit what's called music paralysis the older we get. And so meaning that we tend to not sort of discover new music, try to find new music. And obviously with the theme of this podcast, I heartily disagreed with this article. And they cited a lot of survey data. And the survey basically showed that the sort of peak of our music discovery is about age 24. That tends to be like the time when we are discovering the most music, and then it kind of goes down from there. And that our most sort of formative years of music influence and discovery are between the ages of 13 and 16. And so I disagreed with this article because I think that especially this group here, continues to discover music, and we're only getting older. So I wanted to kind of bring it up with the group, but it sort of spurred on my icebreaker question, which was, what was your sort of favorite musical group or band between the ages of 13 and 16? So like roughly high school. So Sergio, I'm going to start with you.
Oof.
Surprise.
I don't know if I have one. So I'm trying to think. So my musical listening career started with hip hop, and then this was like elementary school, and then in high school started getting more into like, oh man, like All American Rejects, or just kind of like emo-ish, pop punk.
Yeah.
And then I was fortunate enough to study abroad in Switzerland in high school, and I had a host sister, but she had a brother who listened to metal, like all kinds of metal, and was a total metalhead. And I had hated metal at the time, but he slowly just kind of started getting me interested in the genre, and like some hardcore like black death metal stuff. And I was like, what? Like, why would anyone listen to this? And then when I left, he gave me his entire like library on iTunes.
Oh, what a gift.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, gigs of music, and then I just kind of I kept listening to it, and I learned to appreciate it. Not that I had to like it, but I could appreciate the talent of them creating music. And I feel like that has helped me branch out into other genres and just appreciate genres for what they are, and not try to cross compare talent or anything like that. So I don't know. Yeah, that's my story. I don't think I have one. But if I think of one, I'll remember.
Cool. Good answer. Yeah, I like it. Erik?
I mean, it was a different era, and I used to listen to a lot of AM radio, so it was whatever the top 100 hits were. But then when I got into high school, I had an older cousin named D'Artagnan who lives in Albuquerque. So if you're listening, hey, Dart, who would pass on
Like
things.
from the Three Musketeers?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
He would pass on what he was listening to me, and because he was older and smarter, and I always thought he was so cool. I would start listening to whatever he would recommend. So he would recommend stuff like Paul Butterfield, and that'll come up later. But I started listening to the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, electric band out of Chicago, blues band out of Chicago. And their second album, East West, was just like mind-blowing to me, because they had the one cut, East West, which was about 12 minutes, and it was Indian raga inspired blues. and it just knocked me out. And I would listen to it night after night. So that and sort of the 60s stuff that was coming out. I mean, Beatles were coming out, the San Francisco scene, so Jefferson Airplane, early Jefferson Airplane, not crap they became later. And just, groups like that. So, yeah.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, I think for me, I think a lot of us pick up on music that our parents listened to. So I think that certainly was a big influence for me, listening to things like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and the Beatles and things like that. But I think once I started kind of choosing my own music, I definitely also listened to a lot of pop punk and kind of emo music like Sergio. That was definitely a big phase early high school. But I think for me, the one that always sticks out is Jamie Cullum. I started listening to him probably around 16. And I brought his music to this podcast before. I still listen to him now. I think for me, the reason why I was kind of drawn to him, one, he was a piano player and I was a piano player. So like, obviously there's that kind of draw. But I think the other thing is that he was really big into covering like pop and rock songs that I was already familiar with. So it was sort of like a gateway into his music, as I would hear like a cover of a hip hop song that I knew or a cover of a Radiohead song that I knew. And so I sort of fell into that. And also too, like I grew up listening to a lot of jazz. So I think that he had a lot of his whole first album is just jazz standard covers. And so I think that was something also that kind of drew me to him. And I think it's sort of a good representation of kind of my mix in taste. Like I don't tend to listen to just one genre. I listen to a whole bunch of different things, and sort of how he kind of took a whole bunch of different genres and sort of covered them in his own way, I think is a representation of sort of where my kind of musical taste ended up going. So yeah, so that's the one that always sticks out to me. But yeah, so anyway, that article, I don't know if I agree with it, but I think it was an interesting kind of thought-provoking piece and made me think about sort of my influence from early days and started our conversation today. So
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it's easy to just stay within like one genre and like not branch out, especially now with like Spotify and
algorithms, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can just say like song radio or just, I don't know.
Yeah. It's really easy. Like I think that's sort of what the article is kind of getting at, is like with technology today, like it is very easy to just get into a rut because the robots they'll decide what you want to listen to if you don't.
But they also decide, they base it on what you like. I mean, I don't mind that Amazon Music tells me, oh, hey, there's a new Mark Anthony album out, you should listen to that. Or having, you listen to Bob Dylan, so you might like this guy, Anthony Wilson, who I just discovered this week, who I thought wrote some incredible songs. And he's relatively young, and I'll be listening to a lot of his stuff. So, I mean, the algorithms are the devil you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also, we don't have to get into this, but there's likely like some pay-to-play things with the algorithm too, which is part of it. So we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But anyway, yeah, double-edged sword, I guess. Alrighty, cool. Well, let's get into the music. What do we got on tap, Sergio?
Yeah, I got 3 songs today, one for each of us. First song is titled Could Have Been Me by the Struts. Has anyone heard that song?
I know a song called It Could Have Been Me.
Yeah, I don't think not.
I don't know.
Not by name.
We'll see. All right.
We'll see.
Don't wanna live as an untold story. Rather go out in a blaze of glory. I can't hear you. I don't fear you. I live now 'cause the bad die last. Dodging bullets with your broken past. I can't hear you. I don't fear you now. Wrapped in your regret. What a waste of blood and sweat. Oh, I wanna taste love
So yeah, that was Could Have Been Me by the Struts. Have you guys heard it?
No.
No, I don't think so. I thought maybe I recognized that band name, but I don't recognize the song.
So I actually discovered the song this week on Monday. It was fed to me by the algorithm
Go
on
Robots.
my Discovered Weekly. And most of the time, I don't know. Sometimes they get some stuff right. Sometimes they don't. But yeah, I love this song. The first time I heard it, I've kind of been going through a tough time recently, and I feel like this song just kind of helped me get out of funk. I also got mad like Queen vibes.
Yeah, definitely
like
Freddie
Mick Jagger,
Mercury, for
Freddie
sure.
Mercury.
For
Maybe
sure.
some My Chemical Romance in there, a little bit maybe.
A little bit of Pink Floyd.
A little bit of Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
They're a British rock band. This is from their 2016 album, which is their first album. I think they now have 3 total albums. They've performed this song a lot. Performed it on Jimmy Fallon. And have opened for some other big bands. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a really fun song. Like what it talked about. So
Like it. I was hearing all those influences, and I love the band name.
Yeah.
the Struts, yeah.
Yeah, the Struts. I mean, because of strutting or like struts on your car.
Yeah, I was going to ask what the first thing was people thought of, like whether it was like car struts or like a walking strut, because I thought of cars.
I thought walking Struts. I think that is why they're named the Struts, because I think they were commenting on how they perform or something in the early days.
Is it kind of like glam rock or I've never
Yeah.
seen them live, but I can kind of see showy.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, like it.
I am a sucker for anybody that can scream on key. That's pretty great. But yeah, especially like the part, I think it was like after there's like that chorus backing that comes in, just like another brick in the wall kind of vibes. Or also Fun. Do you remember that
Yeah,
band
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of thought of that too, like the clapping and the like chorus in the background. But it was like after that part, I was like sounded just like Freddie Mercury. Definitely got those vibes. Yeah, it's like just such a nice like kind of like. I feel like I wasn't really listening to the lyrics that closely, because I think for me just the sound had a very like uplifting feel to it. I would give it another listen and kind of listen closer to the lyrics, because sometimes that can be deceiving. But it definitely has kind of that like pick me up vibe, like get me going, get me out the door. You know, maybe I can actually face today kind of vibe, and definitely got that for sure. So I can see that doing the trick. But yeah, really cool. You said this is their third. This is from their third album?
Their first album.
Oh, from their first album. Okay.
2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
That's neat. Yeah.
Yeah, if you
I
like it, yeah, I'd recommend listening. I've been listening to all their albums are pretty good. Their first album I've been listening to on repeat since Monday. A lot of great songs on there. So
Yeah, and I definitely got some of almost like that pop punk vibes from stuff I listened to in high school, but like with a British accent, which is interesting because like none of those bands really had that. But you can definitely tell, obviously they're British, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice, good one.
Cool. The next song is called "In My Own Dream," 1997 remaster by the Paul Butterfield Blues Band.
Okay, so the emphasis on this song is not Paul Butterfield and the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, although they're one of my favorite all-time groups. But David Sanborn died. David Sanborn was a prolific saxophonist, played with, from what I've been reading, over 100 artists, from Stevie Wonder to James Brown to Steely Dan to just a lot of other people. Very influential guy. And had a great podcast that he did later from like the last few years. But I wanted to do something for him, and I didn't want to do his own music because a lot of it is sort of smooth jazz, which I really don't like, as a genre I really don't like. But the first time that I heard him was on this cut on this album. This is from 1968. And so this is all about the saxophone solo.
All right.
was such a fool. And it took me a long time just to find out. Ooh, that my head was upside down. And what I was standing on, you know, it wasn't too solid ground. Oh no, satisfied. What I thought I'd be, I kept on living. Ooh, yeah, my own dreams. Now every day I grew blinder. Thought I was so strong, I didn't need nobody's help. Oh, but the strongest river can flow uphill. Well, no, satisfied. Yeah, what I thought I'd be, I kept on living. Ooh, yeah, in my own dream. You know the times of love, yeah. Oh, so strong, yeah. You know, carry me back. Oh, show me my wrong, yeah.
Well, I love that song. I love the whole song, but when I first heard that saxophone solo, it just knocked me out because it sounds almost like he's playing backward in parts of it. And it's got a little Indian influence, which the band sometimes played with. And for a Chicago blues group, it had a lot of gospel-y sound in it. And I just thought they put it together great. And this is a great American band that was sort of derailed by drug use. And like everybody's dead. Which is horrible.
Oh, man.
That's awful.
It went dark there.
I didn't know where that was going, and then wow.
One of the main guys in it was a guy named Mike Bloomfield, and he died. And then Paul Butterfield, who used to hang around Boulder a lot, actually, was they just all took too many drugs, and it didn't turn out well for anybody.
Yikes.
And David Sanborn was the last of that group. But anyway, this song, again, from their fourth album, was just, I just really liked it.
I was like, wait, when you were like, the saxophone solo was where it's at. I'm just sitting here like, when's it coming? What's happening? And then, yeah, I definitely picked up on that Indian influence. And then I remembered you saying that they were like Indian raga kind of influence band, which yeah, absolutely you could hear it. I feel like haunting is a good word for that saxophone solo. Maybe that's how I would describe it. And it's interesting too, because like dream is in the song title, and it sort of has that kind of like dreamy quality to it. I'm guessing some of the effects that they put on the saxophone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really interesting because, I think just in general, like you can definitely tell like, oh, this is blues music, but there's just so many aspects to it that are very unique. Like the percussion is very interesting, and sort of some of the higher stringed instrument. I don't know what it was. I
was going to ask you if you recognize what that was at the opening.
Yeah,
it's not piano.
Yeah, it kind of it sounded like harpsichordy almost, but like not quite that. But anyway, just kind of interesting because it's. I mean, yeah, you can tell it's blues, but it's just got so many other flavors like mixed in there, which is really cool. I was going to ask something. Sorry, Sergio, you can go ahead. I'm going to remember my question later.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was, yeah, like the different fusion components of it and like the gospel vibes in there. And I guess the saxophone to me, I guess now that you say haunting, I was thinking first like sultry and like kind of like smoke room and, speakeasy, but I can see also like haunting vibe. Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome.
Because it's a lament about, I screwed up most of my life, and I was just thinking I was doing so well, but I really wasn't. And that was sort of the vibe that, I thought it was carrying over, which is a blues thing, but it didn't sound especially like a blues song.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because saxophone is typically not played in blues bands, right? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, some.
Some? Okay.
Yeah. Huh. I remembered my question. Yeah, did David Sanborn play with them regularly, or was it this like a one-time thing? Or
it was, they played at Woodstock. He was at Woodstock with them. I don't think they got in the movie. But this was like, he joined the band. He was a member of the band, but I think for only this third and fourth albums.
Okay, got it. Yeah, really interesting. I mean, I'd love to listen to more. I think that was, just really, really unique.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Erik.
Cool.
Awesome.
And the next song is titled "Burn the House Down" by Claudio Corona and Adam Deitch. Deitch?
Yeah, I think it's Deitch, although I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think let's just listen and then we'll chat after.
All right. Here we go.
All right. Yeah. So Claudio is I think he's based in the UK. I feel like he might be originally from Italy, but he's based in the UK primarily. But he specializes in, no shocker here, but like vintage organ and keyboard instruments.
Shocker.
So like Hammond organs and like Fender Rhodes, things like that. And so he. Ooh.
Oops, sorry.
I was like, oh, is there another?
Oh, that's
This
a
is a
faux
live
pas.
podcast, folks.
That's
another-
the fourth song of tonight. It's a sunflower.
Oh, I love it. It's so great. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So anyway, so he specializes in these sort of like vintage keyboard and organ instruments. I think he spent most of his career. I mean, he's not very old, but like so far, mostly doing a lot of like producing and kind of playing with and for people, playing with different bands and kind of touring with different bands. So he doesn't have a lot of kind of solo stuff. He just kind of recently started going out and doing stuff on his own. And I came across this, just heard it on the radio. So take that, robots. But yeah, I was just driving around and this came on and I just caught like kind of the tail end of it and I was like, oh, it's funky. Kind of like it. And the drummer, Adam Deitch, I think his name is actually a Denver-based musician. I think he has like a quartet that he plays with. But similar, like he's a big studio musician, touring musician. Like he's played with a lot of different people. I think he plays in like a lot of different like jazz groups, but then also like the Fugees and things like that too. So he kind of like gets around different places. But yeah, I think he's based in Denver mostly. Yeah, that's my spiel on that one.
I like that someone is carrying on the tradition of playing the B3, like Joey DeFrancesco or Richard Holmes or Jimmy Smith, and that whole big organ vibe with just a drummer. And it sounded really cool to me. I really liked it.
Yeah. What do you think, Sergio?
No, yeah, I thought that was awesome. I thought, yeah, it's I don't know. Whenever there's is it a harpsichord? Is that the instrument or
organ? Yeah.
Whenever there's an organ, it's like right off the bat, it's like, oh damn, okay, like where are we going with this? And then I think I was expecting there to be vocals, and then I was like kind of hoping that there were, but then it kept going. I was like, nah, it's too funky and organ-y. And I was like, no, I want to keep listening to this. It kind of reminded me of Too Many Zoos, but Too Many Zoos is mostly like brass band. But I was like, okay, this is more like on the other end, like super funky organ. Yeah, that was awesome. That was cool.
It's pretty intense. I will say, and like in listening to a couple of, I think his solo EP has like 4 tracks on. Like he does not have a lot of solo stuff. And I don't think he usually has a drummer with it. I think it's just a song that he has Adam on with him. But yeah, I mean, I will say, like, I really like this song and I have been digging his music this week for sure. But it feels like there is something missing to it. I don't know what it is. But it almost feels like this music is great. It almost feels like really funky, intense, awesome, like interlude music almost. Like it feels like
it was short.
Yeah, and a lot of his songs are. I think there was another one I was listening to today that's like 2 minutes long. So I don't know if it's like the length and that's what it is, or if it's like an instrumental thing. Because I do love like the layering of the different organs, and there's like some cool videos online that he's like spliced together that like shows him like doing the layering with the different organs, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I think it might just be the length, but I was like trying to think of like a use case for this music, and I don't know.
I recently rewatched the movie Baby Driver. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah.
And this song made me think of that movie just because I was like, oh, this would fit so perfectly in that if there's like a movie that kind of cuts along like with the song. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that would just fit so well in something like that. So I don't know, maybe it's a film or a movie or something.
I don't know, but it's so funky. I would love to see something like this. Like I would love to see him like play live. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if he would do a lot of looping or what, but
reminds me of Ezra Collective out of UK too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that one.
Cool.
Anything else?
Does anyone have a bonus song?
I don't have a bonus song.
I don't really have one either. Sorry.
No prep.
No prep.
We should have one. We should start
prep
doing
one.
it.
I should make sure, that we always have one kind of lined up. Do you have one, Sergio?
Sure, I'll pick one.
All
I'll play
right.
one.
I mean, you're the DJ.
Should I play the Conan O'Brien song?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Have you heard this
Yes.
song?
Oh, it's so good.
Okay. This will be the bonus song.
Bonus song.
It's called Velkommen till klubben by EDA and Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
I want to be a hit on the Norwegian pop charts. Is that a possibility?
Ja, big deal, god, natten. TGT, og det blir feil seng i kroppen. Det er GG når jeg gamer på laptopen, men jeg må pælme den, for den er lettbrent. Har ikke mange lange steg igjen, så har jeg ben igjen. Han var meg en fan, bro. Yeah, det var sånn det var. Now let me in a verse ride with a horn like. Når du beveger beina, gi meg alt du kan. Når du ser meg på scenen, si meg at du ikke har tid til noe annet. Du må danse som en fan, til de tror at du er gal. Ideal. Følger med deg. Er det noen her som kan på meg en seg? Det er babbelicious, så på klubben jeg griper dagen når jeg trykker på play. Countdown 3, 2, 1, 0. Treffer midt i blinken, er ikke noe tull. Du vet jeg er det shit, er ikke noe bull. Fetter noe tuger på klubben over taget. Livet er en film, men jeg spiller ingen rolle. Hun har en keeper og jeg sikter på målet. Jeg ser høyt hver dag, puller opp i lærer. Henger med klingen færen ut av hele året. Ja, sånn er det, sånn skal det få bli. Klinker ned på noe sprit, jeg spør som martini. For du vet hvem det er det noe liv? Sjekker ikke klokken for jeg har god tid. Når du beveger beina, gi meg alt du kan. Når du ser meg på scenen, si meg at du ikke har tid til noe annet. Du må danse som en far, til de tror at du er gal. Gi de alt, bro. Velkommen til klubben. Velkommen til klubben. Velkommen til klubben. Velkommen til klubben. Velkommen til klubben.
Hey, Jarle. Har ikke Kjartan en baromer i bena òg?
Har han det? Oh yeah.
Wait, kan du ikke du om det? Men spill noe BJ shit den første her. What I'm hearing, Conan.
What's that?
Come on, give me some more.
You want more of that?
You goddamn right, I want more of that.
Is there a video that goes along with this?
Yeah, there's I think a couple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the video is pretty great.
Yeah, I can imagine what's going on. You don't hear Norwegian a lot.
No.
So it's a different sounding language.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, so Conan has a new show on Max, HBO Max, and it's like a travel show. So in the first episode, he goes to Norway, and the whole like motivation is like he meets like fans on his podcast, and then he hears about interesting places, and then he goes and meets them. And so he like met up with a couple of fans in Norway who have like this group EDA, and he was like, I want to be in one of your songs. And so he sung the hook for the song.
And performed it.
And performed
live.
it. And performed it live. Yeah. And yeah, it's just so good.
It's a fun song.
It's
like,
a really
it's
fun
like a
song.
summer banger.
It is, yeah.
They
for
made
sure.
an English version, but it's not as good. I don't know. There's something about the Norwegian
Not
sound.
knowing what they're talking about is part of the appeal.
Right. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're saying welcome to the club.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
other than that,
Who
other
knows?
than the Conan part, like I don't know what they're saying. But yeah, it's just, I mean, Conan at his finest, but so good. Yeah, it is definitely like a summer jam for sure. Like, you know, windows down, speaker
We get our summer
blasting.
jam early.
Yeah, we got our summer jam in like April, May. But yeah, definitely look up the video. You'll find a few. But they're so great. He's so ridiculous. He's such a ridiculous human being, Conan.
It's a good show, too.
It is a really good show. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Oops. Oh well, I don't need that. It's fine. Alrighty. I think we're Do we have any more bonus songs? That's good.
Yeah, I think
I
we're
think
good.
that's
We're
it.
good?
We're
All
off
right.
to the clubbing.
Off to the clubbing.
Welcome into clubbing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that jazz. Leave a comment if you want us to listen to something, or email us hello@loudmoutpublicmedia.org. And we will see y'all next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.